They're not even trying, though. Instead of even putting forth some illusion of a jobs initiative today on the floor of the House, in contrast to talking about job creation and bigger paychecks, they're putting a bill on the floor that undermines the health of America's women. The bill is worse than the bill they pulled from the floor yesterday. That affected thousands of women, maybe. This affects millions of women.
Is an unborn child 20 weeks into pregnancy a human being?
You know what? What we're talking about on the floor of the House is something that says politicians should determine what affects the health of a woman, her life, her health, and the rest. I don't think it's up to politicians to do that. This isn't about any improvement because of the actions that were taken yesterday. And the improvement in the policy, it makes matters worse. It makes permanent the Hyde Amendment. We haven't done that before. It undermines the ability of a woman to use her own money for her own insurance for full reproductive services. This affects millions of people in our country and affects the District of Columbia. This is a much broader bill. So if there was some cosmetic reason, and that's what I've seen in the paper, I don't know if that's true, where they thought this will look bad to the young people that we're hoping to attract if you have a bill like this, that was worded the way their bill was. Well, if for cosmetic reasons they thought that wasn't a good idea, now they're going to a much worse bill.
On the abortion issue, I understand your position on the legislation, but even the legislation aside, when it comes to the matter of whether or not an unborn child is a human being at 20 weeks gestation, what is your personal take on that? If it's not a human being, then what do you believe it is?
You know, it's really interesting that you would come to these meetings to talk about it. The fact is what we have said, the life and the health of the mother is what is preeminent in when a decision is made about a woman's reproductive health. It isn't a ideological fight, it's a personal health issue. And as a mother of 5 in 6 years, I have great standing on this issue, great understanding of it, more than my colleagues. In fact, one day, many years ago, maybe even before you were born, when I was a new member of Congress, when I was as a Catholic and mom of 5, opposing some of the initiatives similar to what, in the same vein of what we have today. One of the Republican members got up and said, Nancy Pelosi thinks she knows more about having babies than the Pope. Yeah, that would be true. So in any event, this is, this is up to women, their conscience, their God, their doctor, their health, their fate, their survival, and that's about what the decision should be. Decisions about women's reproductive health should not be made by politicians in Washington, D.C., but should honor the decisions that have been made by the Supreme Court, the decision made by the Supreme Court recognizing the right of women to have that choice.